Thank you everyone so much for being here. This is incredibly special for us to see all of these faces gathered here this evening. So many Journey Clinical members, so many Fluence community members as well, and we have some teammates as well from both communities here. And so actually just raise your hand if you are a Journey Clinical member, therapist. Amazing. Welcome to you all. And raise your hand if you're here through Fluence and you're part of Fluence's network. Excellent. A nice mix. And raise your hand if you're a part of neither community, but you're here to learn this evening. Thank you. Yes. Hi. Thank you for being here. And actually, raise your hand if this is your first time here in this space. Wonderful. Well, welcome. Mike said he'd like to be our intern, yes. And here's the wonderful Banksy, our most important guest. Thank you all for being here and welcome. And we're hoping to host a lot more community events here in this space throughout the summer. So hopefully this is the first of many times you'll come here. And we're going to share a little bit about Journey Clinical and about Fluence for those of you who are part of either community to learn a little bit. And we're so grateful for you all for being here. So to give you a little bit of background on Journey Clinical has set up the infrastructure for psychotherapists to be able to deliver psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy in their private practice. And so it all starts with a telehealth platform that hosts a collaborative care model, which I'm going to have Bridget, our lead clinician here, share a little bit more about. And what we do is therapists join our network, and we have an in-house medical team led by Dr. Kyle Lapidus and also Bridget here. And therapists can join and deliver this in their private practice. We give them everything they need to get started, and that includes a wonderful world-class training from our partners, Fluence, and they are able to deliver CAP, ketamine-assisted psychotherapy, via a variety of modalities, so in-person, remote, group, couples, retreats, and I know many therapists here with us this evening are doing this right now in their practice and changing lives. So we are so proud to be here with Fluence, our partners. And before I hand it over to Dan to share a bit more about Fluence, I also wanted to share with you a little bit of a fun fact about the history of Journey Clinical and Fluence, which we go way back. Actually, the origin story of Journey Clinical comes from our co-founders who they realized this need for this infrastructure for psychotherapists to be able to do this work. And so, as many startups do in this scrappy way, they sent an email to the Fluence listserv and said, hey, psychotherapists, who wants in? And the therapists that responded to that became our alpha cohort. The first member technically was Rebecca Kronman, who I know is extremely active in the Fluence community as well. And they took that brave step to start doing CAP in their practice. And Bridget can speak to that. She was there from the beginning, shaping our protocols. And Ingmar Gorman from Fluence, the co-founder of Fluence, is our lead scientific advisor. So he was also there from the start, shaping our protocols and our training. And that's the story. So Fluence was really right there from the beginning. And we're so proud to partner with them. They are the leading continuing education platform in this field, in this emerging field. And we're just incredibly proud to be partnered with you. And I would love for you to share a little bit more about Fluence for our audience.
Thank you so much, Lizzie. It's really nice to see and meet you all, and there's so many faces here I've already met before. It's also fun because I've been on the Fluence team for just about 3 months now, so it's really nice to be able to speak on behalf of an organization I've already come to love so much. So just really briefly wanted to share a bit about where we're at. So one of the things we're really excited about is over the course of the last couple years, as you all know, there's already been so many shifts in the psychedelics field. We're all eagerly anticipating the potential approvals of a couple medicines that I think will expand and create potential far beyond even what we've all gotten to practice with ketamine. And we've been building our programs around the possibilities and capabilities that will bring forth. So while we continue to work with a lot of drug developers, actually doing training behind the scenes for their clinical trials, which is really exciting because we get to be part of creating and developing a lot of new therapeutic modalities. We're also very actively building a training program, which Journey's part of, and the part that we share with them, that allows for adaptable growth in skill sets. So we've built all of our programs around a modular model now. So we have a core Fluence psychedelic therapy and integration training that we run cohorts throughout the year. We've got an even deeper dive into ketamine practice. We're adding in a few new modules, and that's my role as director of product. Is we already did a program for psilocybin in Oregon. We're exploring and planning to launch a new psilocybin program that will both be available for general knowledge as well as part of the Oregon and Colorado certifications. And we're going to keep developing new programs as new modalities, new techniques, new theories come about. And we're going to continue offering consultation groups, reading and study groups, and short classes. So there's a lot of different ways to get involved, and we really fundamentally believe in accessibility. It's really great to be able to do a year-long program, and that's also a huge investment of time and money. So, just as Journey's done making it so easy for folks to get right on board and start practicing ketamine, we've also built our model in a way that people can pick and choose what makes sense for them to take on when they want to. We've been really proud to work with Journey because, it's really hard to find ways to practice CAP when it's still so disparate, so diffuse. I'm actually planning to become a member. I have not gotten to yet, but I have a private practice and I want to practice. And we're really proud to be part of a platform that I think so many in the industry seeing as having so much potential, right? It's also part of creating accessibility for the clinical community, that we can actually be able to deliver it without having to work in a clinic that's not part of our own business, and to be able to find prescribers to work with us and get the training and the support we need. And it's been so great to talk to so many of you who are Journey members tonight, who are able to express and share what it's meant for you to be able to use the Journey system to deliver CAP in your program. So we're really proud to be a part of that, and we're really proud to see all the different ways that our partnership can keep growing and expanding. And as someone based in New York, it's just so cool to know that we have these shared communities together and find ways to keep seeing more overlap. So thanks for being here. For those of you who are part of our community, thanks so much for being part of it, and we look forward to welcoming you even further into it. And for those who haven't yet, you know where to find us. We'd love to have you on board, and you've already gotten a taste of it through Journey, which we're so proud of. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dan, for sharing that. And I'm going to come back to you because you mentioned some things that I know that many people here are very interested in. But I want to turn it to our lead clinician, Dr. Bridget Gordon. Bridget, you've been here from the start and in the founding of Journey Clinical, and something that's very central to who we are is this collaborative care model. So, therapists, they join with us and they have this world-class, incredible training from Fluence, and they still need support in doing this practically in their practice. I know that we take on the medical aspects of the treatment, the intake, the prescriptions, the outcome monitoring. But I wanted to ask you about this collaborative care model. What does that look like on a day-to-day basis? Can you share more about your role and the team's role in supporting our psychotherapists and collaborating with them to care for our patients?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Awkward. Okay, so I'm so happy to be here. I have been with Journey since its inception pretty much, so I've seen all the different iterations of our protocols and how important the psychotherapist is in the whole process of creating our protocols, because we really want these protocols to work for you and your practice, your businesses, and your patients. And so also being somebody that has a private practice as well, I know how imperative it is to be able to collaborate with the psychotherapist. So I know it's bidirectional. You guys really need to be able to communicate with prescribers, which I hate to say it is often very difficult to do. To be able to, let's say, collaborate, I think my patient needs to increase their dosage of their medication, or maybe they're saying to you in their 15-minute med check that everything's fine, and you're seeing a very different picture of your client. And so the whole process of Journey is that you are really the fulcrum of balancing patient care and outcomes. And so the collaborative care model, sort of in an example of a client coming in, let's say they are already in your practice and you've decided that ketamine would be a really good fit for them. So they would come to us for a psychiatric evaluation, which through Journey Clinical, we really want it to be trauma informed. This is not going to be one of these situations in which your patient has to go over in detail their trauma experiences or the work that you have already done with them. This is to know about medical safety, to get clients to feel comfortable with Journey and that Journey is another home for them besides you, their psychotherapist, and in your offices or virtual offices. And we collaborate with the patient as well as with you to evaluate what kind of treatment they should receive, their medications, what is safe to take with ketamine, what is not safe to take with ketamine. We give them their whole protocol, and then we collaborate with you with creating a tailored experience. So you might send in a referral form saying you want to work with really low dosages. We will listen to that and work with that. If you want your client to be prepared for potentially a retreat or for a virtual experience or in-person experience, we work with you on that. And then once your patient is part of our, they've had their psychiatric evaluation, we always do follow-up visits, ensuring that they're, nothing has changed in their lives that would make ketamine maybe contraindicated. We work with you through messaging through the portal to ensure that your patient's doing well, to make sure that you feel like the protocol and the dosage is working well. And you get automated emails each time your patient is seen so that you are informed about what is going on with your patient, what their dosage change is, how they felt that the ketamine session went. You will receive all of that information. And our portal is set up specifically to be able to communicate with you, the therapist, as well as the patient. So we're all on the same page. It's transparent and very much centered on communication. I hope that answered.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's a really wonderful and thorough picture of how this collaborative care model actually functions. So I appreciate it, Bridget. And, we're talking about this infrastructure that we've created, and we're supporting ketamine-assisted psychotherapy at the moment. But I know that a topic that's on many of our members and communities' minds is what's going to happen when potentially other treatment options become available. And so, Dan, Birdie told me that you might have some more to share about this process and the training opportunities that could become available in order to support psychotherapists in doing that work. So I wanted to ask you about that.
Sure. So as you all probably know pretty well, but the molecules that are most likely going to become available for treatment in psychotherapy in the next handful of years are MDMA and psilocybin. There's a lot of clinical trials going on in psilocybin. They've reached various stages, but it's reasonable to anticipate possible approval in 2025, conceivably. Certainly more likely, increasingly likely in 2026 from multiple trials ongoing. As you all probably know full well, Lykos Therapeutics has already submitted their application, and there's a potential approval available later this year. So what does that mean in practice, right? A lot of these drug developers have been very, very thoughtful and focused on delivering this training as part of their clinical trials, and they've been very tight-lipped about what it might mean in practice. How will people actually get to do this? I happen to have been very involved in the development of MDMA training, but I also need to be mindful that a lot of it's not public information yet. But what I can say is that there's a lot of the fundamental elements that you will have learned from practicing ketamine therapy that I think are adjacent to the treatment of MDMA. And one of the things that is really going to be helpful is being trauma informed, because the primary indication is going to be PTSD. Building your skill set, understanding, and practical experience in working with trauma wherever relevant will be really good for setting you up for a capability to practice MDMA. And there's going to be a lot of training available on the basics and the fundamentals of it and how it works that might make you as clinicians good candidates to be someone selected to work with MDMA. We currently offer some on-demand content there, and we'll be actually reshooting and refilming that over the summer to have a more robust course that would give you an introduction into how MDMA has been studied, what it could be utilized for, and how it might work in practice. Now, psilocybin is an even more interesting story because, as many of you know, Colorado and Oregon already, Colorado soon, have these state-based models that exist out of the clinical trial program, wherein someone who practices there could actually practice a form of psilocybin treatment in those states. We at Fluence were one of the original Oregon training providers, and we're really excited to be diving more into psilocybin. So we already offer a number of psilocybin on-demand courses. We had our Oregon psilocybin program. We do a lot of psilocybin research training. So one of the things we're working on that's not broad public information yet, but I'm sharing because I love thoughts and feedback from y'all as a community. So just as we developed ketamine content that layered on top of our fundamental programs, we're now developing a psilocybin module that would layer on top of the fundamental training that we offer and be a pathway towards practice in Oregon and Colorado. One of my deep curiosities and hopes is, how is all of this burgeoning psilocybin education gonna overlay to what eventually happens when the drug developers working on psilocybin for various indications release it out into the world? Arguably, one's experience training and practicing in it in other contexts would be relevant. We don't know. But that's one thing at Fluence, because we are so oriented around what is high quality, evidence-based clinical practice. We're gonna make sure that even in any psilocybin programs we do for something in a state-based model, it's really utilizing the knowledge that we've gleaned from having worked in so much of the clinical practice and having trainers and educators who are clinicians in those trials. So that's why we're thinking about it, but we're as eager to find out how this field advances towards those treatments as all of you are.
Thank you so much, Dan. That was really greatly appreciated, I'm sure, from many, to have some context around that. And to give an update on Journey Clinical as well, we're excited to have built this infrastructure that will be able to support these other treatment modalities as they become available. Obviously, centering the psychotherapist is going to be very critical in the delivery of these treatments, and so this model really, it lends itself to that. And we also recently announced a partnership with Compass Pathways, who are leading the way in the Comp360 psilocybin treatment. And so we'll be collaborating with them on the delivery model of that treatment as well. So if you would like to learn more about that, we can chat about that afterwards as well. But I wanted to actually transition us to hearing from one of our member psychotherapists, the wonderful Yamil Sarabi. I'm going to call her up here. Yamil is a part of the Fluence community, has been a part of Fluence trainings, and also is a wonderful, active and supportive member of the Journey Clinical community. And I wanted to bring you up, Yamil, because we're talking about these models, and we want to hear, from a psychotherapist what it was like to go through, to join Journey Clinical, to go through this Fluence training in preparation for delivering psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy. And then, along with the theme of this evening, which is community and networking, I wanted to ask you about how that plays a role in your training and your feeling, equipped to do this work. And so I would love for you to share on those topics.
Thank you, Lizzie. I really appreciate that, because I appreciate all of you being here, because as a therapist, I kind of live my life as that way, like what I give to my clients. And one of the biggest things is that, in a relationship, you have to participate. You have to, throw the ball back and forth. And being in Journey Clinical, one of the biggest things that I was missing in my life as a therapist is being in community, like Lizzie was saying. And with the forum, we learned so much. I know I've learned so much. I've been introduced to so many new people. Dr. Tatarsky, correct? Harm reduction therapy. I bought his book. I signed up to his email. That's really awesome. And just being with, you all and learning, because we never stop learning. I've learned so many different things. I'm even contemplating doing, learning, IFS. But here at Journey Clinical, the staff is unbelievable. And like, it's so great to have someone who's like here from the very start, ground zero, because, you know, she's been through so much already as far as like the learning curve and all those things. And I think that's really awesome. The other thing is it introduced me to Fluence, which I took the training. It was fantastic. One of the things about me is I'm really, really at the core and front-facing a holistic psychotherapist. But one thing people don't think, because they think, oh, okay, then that's all you're about. No, I love research. I love, you know, reading. I really do love scientific articles. And one of the things about Fluence was that, you know, when I was doing the training, they were referencing all this research, and I'm glad that I'm learning. I have learned from, I've been certified with them, but one of the biggest things with them that makes me like want to keep learning is the fact that they actually provide training for drug developers. So they're like at the heart of research, because they're the ones who are like getting and paying for research, and then now they want to get into it, right? So they're really like at the pulse of that actual research. So that's why I appreciate having been certified by them. And I hope they keep growing as we are going to keep growing. And I just hope that all of us keep being together and keep participating with one another, because really that's what it's all about. Because as we're going into the new age of society with AI, we really have to keep our core human values. As therapists, basically that's what we're helping people to fix, because that's why there's so much dysfunction. But at the core of that is just being human and really trying to keep that human connection, understanding, tolerance. So I appreciate being in this community because I actually can be myself with all that. Because in the world today, that's really like not what they want. It's like, you know, not what they want. So I hope that helps you all. And I give so much gratitude to all of you. And Lizzie, and I swear they have the most, I don't know who hires, but they have, it's not just Lizzie who's like a beautiful soul, but like everybody, like the prescribers. I mean, I even met the owners, they're awesome too. I don't know, I just appreciate it very much. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Yamil. Thank you for saying that and for speaking to this importance of community. It's obviously why we're all here this evening. And so I'm going to kind of release us back into the networking and the mingling. And I really encourage you all to introduce yourselves to a new face. I know we've had a little bit of time already to connect, but there's plenty of us here to connect with. And so I encourage you to introduce yourselves and make those connections. Who knows, maybe establish some collaborations out of tonight would be excellent.